Welcome to the KPC Smart Money Podcast. Today, and probably next week, we're going to talk about the 6 secrets to a happy retirement. You know, once you have the money stuff figured out for retirement, your next job is to choose how you'll spend all this newfound free time. Did you know that when you retire, you get back 2,000 hours a year that you used to spend on working? Well, how are you going to spend all that extra time? If you're not sure what your new daily routine in retirement will look like, well, you're in good company. Many people dream of the days of leisure, travel, vacationing, golf, gardening, spending time with the grandkids.
Golf.
Yeah, I know. For you it's golf. But few actually make a plan on what they're going to do. So we put together 6 secrets to have a happy retirement. Hope you enjoy them. Kevin, what's the first one?
So before we get into item number 1, I got to tell you the story. You've heard the story about my father, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, my mother called up on the second day of his retirement and said, son, you have to get your father a fishing pole or some golf clubs or something. He has to have something.
Get him out of the house.
You've got to find him something to do, right?
Yep, and it became golf.
I tell you, while you were reading that, it made me think that's part of the reason why I don't think I'm ever going to fully retire, because it scares me to death to have that much time on my hands. I get bored so easily.
2,000 hours a year. That's a lot.
Well, you know what? Our job, as financial planners, we get real busy, and sometimes you want things to slow down. But if it slows down too much, I don't like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to find something to keep you occupied. So anyway, the first topic is, you've worked hard to earn a paycheck and save for retirement. So now it's time to use your hard-earned savings to focus on your health and happiness, including regular exercise and healthy food. Boy, I need to start thinking about that a little bit more.
Before retirement.
That's the part when you're working and you're busy.
It's hard to find
the time. It's hard to find the time to exercise and eat healthy food and so on. To socialize and stay in shape, start a walking club, take a fitness class for older adults, or do an online exercise program with friends. Be sure and talk to your doctor first. That's the disclaimer, right? Before starting your exercise program. When shopping, consider spending a little more money on fresh produce and foods that are low in sugar, fat, and salt.
Sounds a little boring, but it's good advice.
In other words, if it tastes good, spit it out. So retirees who make it a priority to live a long, healthy, and active life in retirement are often much happier than their more sedentary counterparts. Even modest increases in physical activity can make a big difference in reducing your risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, obesity, and diabetes, and premature death. So what are the key takeaways from that, Karen?
To enjoy your wealth, you need your health. So stay active.
Mentally, physically, and socially to enjoy your retirement years to the fullest. Okay, what's the second item on this retirement checklist?
The second one is companionship. Kevin, we're hardwired for connection. Even the most introverted among us, just crave some form of companionship with people. And, Kevin, a lot of times that companionship can come from our little fur babies, 4-legged friends, cats, dogs. We need that connection. But when you retire, the natural social connections you had at your job, they don't exist anymore. So that is why you need to create a new social network. You can reach out to neighbors or others, find people who share a common interest, or get to know the people who hang out at your local dog park or animal rescue organization. If you're feeling isolated, consider reverse retirement and go back to work full or part-time. According to a recent Transamerica study, Kevin, nearly 70% of baby boomers, and that's folks born between 1946 and 1964, either expect to already work past 65, or they really don't plan to retire at all.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I mean, I want to kind of slow down a little bit, but Yeah, we kind of have we're trying to put a plan in place for that, aren't we?
Yes.
But the business keeps growing.
That's a good
Anyway,
thing.
so the key takeaways for that is to schedule regular time to connect with your family and friends in person by phone or via video chat. I have an idea. A lot of you that are listening to this podcast, we know you go to church on a regular basis, but, we were meant to be in community,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you're not happy with your church, find one that you like, or if you're not going to church, that's a good place to meet people, and some good things might just rub up on you.
Well, and there's lots of options, and I think people just don't necessarily know what they are. I mean, there's a lot of very, very active senior community centers where you can meet people. I mean, there are apps now where you can join just about any kind of group you want. Reading groups, bird watching groups, walking groups, pet playtime groups. I mean, there are so many out there. You don't have to scratch your head and try and figure out where you can connect with people.
Yeah, that's right.
But the big deal is connect. Get out there, meet new friends. Because again, if you were in a working environment where there were lots of people around that you could chit chat with all the time, things are going to be different when you retire.
That's for sure. That's why I think a lot of people do go back to work. I remember a long time ago when I was a new manager. This was back probably in the early 90s. We hired this guy, and we were doing health insurance for self-employed people. That's what we were specializing in. And this guy was like a top car salesman. I mean, he was just a killer. I was so happy to hire him. I thought he'd be great. And, after a couple of weeks, he made some sales, but after a couple of weeks, he came in and he said, "I quit." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I can't just sit at home like this and make phone calls off these leads you're giving me. I miss the camaraderie of the car dealership."
Yeah, well, how about
And
the
it
one?
blew me away.
How about the one gentleman we had who had a pretty high-powered corporate job, and he already knew when he retired he was going to go work part-time for a doggy daycare center because he loved being around the dogs and in the public and with people, and he just wanted something part-time to keep him busy. Within 3 weeks they wanted to promote him to manager to take the whole thing over, and he goes, "No, that wasn't the point. I want socialization and I love animals, but I did not want a full-time management job again."
Yeah. It seems like, we're in the retirement planning business, right? And it seems like the people who find things to do, right? The ones that say, "Oh, I've got plenty to do.
No moss grows
I'm not
under
bored."
them.
That's right. I'm not bored at all. I got lots of things to do.
Oh, we got okay, favorite client. What has he done? He did some stuff with TSA. Now he's moving cars around the country, just getting on the road and driving. And for a while, he had an eBay business. That is a man that no moss grows underneath him.
Yeah, he's always finding something to tinker with.
And they're really unusual.
That's right.
He is very happy in retirement.
Yeah. So, the third thing that we want to talk about, this is part one. There's actually 6. This is part 1 of a 2-part series. So let's wrap it up with item number 3. Have a sense of purpose. Retirees with a clear sense of purpose live longer. A study published in 2019 shows that Americans between the ages of 51 and 61 without a strong life purpose were more than twice as likely to die early than those who said they had a strong life purpose. The highest level on Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization, or being the most you can be. Realizing your full potential may also involve helping others, to give back to your community or to society as a whole. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. When do you feel, when you do something nice for somebody, how does it make you feel?
It makes you feel great.
Right.
Better to give than receive.
Right. Or you volunteer for a board of a charity or something like that. How does it make you feel when you go to those board meetings? Sometimes bored.
Yeah.
But you get my drift.
There's a purpose. You're doing something that's beyond yourself.
So if you don't have a strong sense of meaning to drive you in retirement, it's important to find one. So, just to talk about Maslow's, I remember this from college, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. the first need is physiological, right? You've got to feed
Eating
yourself.
and sleeping.
Yeah, that's
and
right. Finding
water.
shelter, right? And the safety and security. Love and belonging is the third step. Self-esteem, loving yourself. And then the fifth, at the top of the pyramid, is self-actualization. You get to the end of your life and you think, I've fulfilled my life. This is how I see myself being. For you Christians out there, it's once you get, as we call it, born again or saved, it's then trying to figure out what your purpose is in life, what God's purpose is for you. Everybody has a purpose.
Everybody has a destiny.
Right. So it's our job to try to find out what it is. So Karen, before we wrap up, what are the key takeaways of a sense of purpose?
Well, think about what you're called to do in retirement. What dreams have you put off because you have been working and had to spend so much time at work? Read books or listen to podcasts, get inspiration, or consider volunteering. I think volunteering is a great thing to do. Maybe you could deliver groceries to a food pantry, or call seniors who are stuck at home. There's just endless opportunities, and look for that one that just kind of makes your heart, sing. It just goes, oh yeah, that is something I could really get behind, something I really want to do, and find your sense of purpose. Well, we're out of time, and as Kevin mentioned, stay tuned next week for part 2 on how to find happiness in retirement.
You've been listening to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. To listen to more episodes, visit kpcsmartmoney.com. You can also find the KPC Smart Money Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.
KPC Financial Solutions is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through KPC Financial Solutions, LLC, a registered investment company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. KPC Financial Solutions is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by KPC Financial Solutions. Hypothetical examples have been provided for illustrative purposes only. It does not represent a real-life scenario and should not be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation.